Hey there everyone and welcome back. I apologize for the delay in this video. I try to upload every Tuesday and I was really tired yesterday and just did not have the energy to put the video together. So I delayed it to today to hopefully not sound like I am dying and sleeping while I'm recording this. Anyways, before we start, I have a big announcement for you all. We now officially have a 24/7 modded Minecraft server. It is all the mods 10. The IP and all the details is in our Discord server. So if you haven't already, definitely come on by. It's a vibe. It is hosted by our very own community members, and it is working really well. It's very smooth, no lag. Did I mention it's 24/7? It's it's great. So come join us. We'd love to have you. Anyways, let's dive in. We have a bit to do. In fact, I'm going to start by deleting all of this and all of that, leaving only our options here, because that is really the only thing staying the same. We are going to take our UI from the terminal and put it onto the big screen, aka we're making a touchscreen monitor UI, something I've been requested for multiple years now, actually, fun fact. So if you're somehow here from a couple years ago, then here you go. Anyway, the first thing we need to do is we gotta actually make use of our monitors. The monitor is a peripheral, so I'm gonna go ahead, call a variable monitor. When we're dealing with peripherals of any kind, so when we're dealing with any peripherals, we have the peripheral library here. And inside we have the find function. It so happens it finds any monitors, as I'm going to specify here, that are currently attached to the computer. Now, peripherals are attached to the computer simply by being adjacent to them. There's also cables in CC Tweaked where you can cable peripherals to the computer. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have the monitor be behind the computer. Now, if we're looking for a peripheral, we need to handle what happens if there is no monitor. So if not monitor, then we're going to print no monitor found and then just return and end. Now, when we have a monitor going forward, since we now have our monitor declared here, a monitor variable, and we did peripheral.find, in order to interact or use the monitor, we are going to do monitor dot and then the command. So I'm going to do set text scale. And what this is going to do is just make the text 50% bigger. By default, the monitor or the text is quite small. This helps make it easier to read. Of course, you can make it whatever you wish. And then we need to get the coordinates or the size of this monitor. So I'm just going to do W and H for width and height and do monitor.getSize. So we already have our options here. There's no need to do anything with that. The options, you can make whatever you wish. You can put whatever Y levels you wish, whatever you want to call them. You can name them what you would like. Only thing I'm going to add here is I'm going to add some variables here, selected, as well as distance and turtle ID and status. And let's set it all equal. So we're going to do 1 for selected. We're going to, by default, select the first option. We're going to put 20. That by default is going to be the distance for our mining. We're going to put nil, because there's not yet any turtle. And for the status, we're going to do waiting for turtle. This is basically what's going to be set at the beginning of the program. It's going to display this status here, waiting for turtle, until one connects. Okay, so let's start by creating a helper function here. We're just going to do function draw text. It's going to be kind of similar to our menus in several episodes back. So we're going to take in some parameters here, X, Y, the text, so that'll be a string, and then a color. Since we're doing advanced monitors, it has to be advanced monitors to make use of the touch, but we're also able to use color. So I'm going to do monitor.set cursor position. I'm going to just do X and Y. Monitor set text color, or say we don't have a color defined, we can do colors.white. And then monitor.write text. We're taking all of these in, so when we call draw text, it would look something like this. We'll draw it at 1, 5. The text will be text, and then the color could be green, and it'll plug all of those values in. Just a little review. I know we've covered this in the past. And yeah, we made this, otherwise we'd be typing that a lot. So that's going to simplify our code quite a bit. Next thing we need to do is we need to actually draw our UI. So here is the bulk of our program here, draw UI. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to set the background color to be black. It's kind of like how it should be when it first starts. Monitor, clear all the junk off the monitor. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the X and Y coordinates performance of any command is going to be a bit different because we're not dealing with just the normal terminal size anymore. I forgot to put an end right here. Glad I caught that. Anyways, we can see what our current width and height are by doing a right. So we have a 33 by 13 display. As you can tell, it is different than our normal terminal, which is 51 by 19. And now we can also put it on our monitor if we do monitor.write. So I'm going to do server, and it's not on here anymore, but instead, there it is. It's the 33 and 13. So that gives you an idea of what kind of text scale we're working with. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and call draw text. I'm going to set kind of the title for the program here. So we're going to put it at the top of the monitor and mostly at the edge. So we can go ahead and do like 5. And I'm just going to call it auto miner setup colors white. And let's call that function, see how that looks. Okay, I centered it, found the 10 by 1 to be optimal for this. All right, so let's carry on. So once we have the title, we're going to go ahead and do a for loop to go through all of our options. So we're going to do I and then opt for options. And we're going to call in iPairs options do. Just a little review. We use iPairs because we want this to be in order. iPairs is basically an ordered list. It keeps the key value pairs together in a way that we want them displayed, whereas pairs does not really care about the order at all. All right, so next we're going to draw the little symbol that shows the option is selected. So we're going to call 2 variables here. We're going to do prefix and then color, because we're going to highlight whichever one in a specific color, whichever one's selected, as well as give it a little symbol. And for both of these, I'm going to put in an I equals selected. And then we're going to put in our symbol, aka the prefix. So we're going to put that and then a space or nothing. And then for here, we can do colors.lime if it's selected, or colors.white. So now that we have those defined, we're going to draw text and make use of all of those. So draw text, then we're going to start at x2, and then we're going to do I plus 1, because we don't want to start at the very top of the screen because that's where our title is going to be. So we're going to start at 2. And I is going to increase as we iterate through this loop. We're going to do prefix and concatenate opt. Remember, opt is, where is it? Here. It is our options. So we're going to do opt.name and then put in the y value associated with that. So y, actually not going to have that parenthesis there. Concatenate opt.y level, and then put the closing parenthesis, and then lastly put our color. And that is the end of that loop. All right, so now we need to display our different options, such as the distance we're going to go and have an ability to decrease and increase that distance, as well as to start. We're going to draw text, and then we need to do, I want this to be below our options list here. So I'm actually going to do y level of the length of options and then plus 3, just so that we give a few spaces below. We're going to have the string, the text be distance, and then concatenate distance as we established earlier in the program. Concatenate again, put blocks, and then I'm going to put colors.white. Now we're going to do draw text again, and it's going to be a little bit lower than the previous one. We're going to do 5. And then for our string, we're actually going to draw little buttons here. So I'm going to do little square brackets and put a minus inside for the decreasing the distance. And then colors, well, what color do we want? Cyan. Draw text. And then we'll have this further to the right because I kind of want this to be in the middle. This is going to be our start button. And we'll have the plus button be to the right of the start button. So this one will be 22. And it's going to be on the same Y level. They're all going to be options plus 5. And then the last thing we'll draw is going to be our little status. And it's going to be further to the left again, and it's going to be underneath everything else. Options plus 7. Now let's put in the text for all of these. So this one is going to be our start button. Start colors.cyan. This one will be our plus button. This will also be colors.cyan. And that's going to be our status. So we're going to do status, then concatenate status, and then we're going to do colors.yellow. All right, so that'll draw all of our stuff to the screen. Let's test that. Okay, so this is how it's looking so far. We can see that the first one is selected by default, We got the little symbol here to show that it is selected, and it is green. We got our minus and plus button, our start, our distance, and our little status message. So the next thing I want to add is a status screen. This is something that could be expanded upon later, but for now, I'm just going to go ahead and display the turtle ID, the Y level it's going to, the distance that it's going to go, and then any status messages it receives. Now, this could be expanded upon quite a bit. You can have it even display a status when it detects OR, which could be interesting, and I'll explore that later. I just don't want the video to go on too long. So let's do status screen. And then we're going to pass Y level, and then we'll do dist for distance. All right, so we're going to clear the monitor, and we're going to be calling draw text a few times here. I'm going to have it all on the same X level just to make it consistent, make it easy for myself. So I'm just going to put this and just copy and paste this. All right, so that's the X, and then for the Y, we'll do 1, because this first one is going to be like the title again, mining status. And we can center this, probably like a 7. We'll see how that looks. And then next we will have a couple lines down. We're going to show the turtle ID. So turtle ID, and then we're going to concatenate. Oh, and for this, I kind of want it to be, let's do lime. Next line down right below it, let's do target Y, and we'll concatenate Y level. That is why we're passing this into that function. Next line down, we'll put in the distance, and then dist. And next line down, we'll do status for all those, any incoming status messages we have. And I'm gonna put this to be yellow so they pop out. And then right below it is where I'll have the status go. So be doing, for now, just waiting. Yeah, this is just a placeholder, and we need to be able to change this to be our different statuses as they change. So we're going to set another function here, local function update status, and I'm going to pass through message. Now we're going to run a couple commands here on our monitor. So we're going to set our position to be the 2.8 line that we have on our status that we put here just a moment ago. And then we're going to set the background color to be black so that it's default. So I'm going to default the background color. Text color, going to default this as well. Colors.white. Then we're going to do monitor.clearLine. This will just, as it states, clear this line only, or whatever line the cursor is on. And we're going to write a new message, which we pass through as message. Pretty much all of these will stay the same. The only thing changing is this line here. Now we need to get the mining turtle involved here. Declare a function, start mining. Now, if we have no turtle ID at all, which we need to check, so if not turtle ID, then the status is going to be no turtle connected, which would be very sad. We'll put a sad face. And then we'll draw UI and then return. Below that, we're going to go ahead and, this checks to see if the turtle is already connected, because before we actually run this function, we're going to run a function that will broadcast a ping to turtles and see which one responds, and that will be the turtle connected. So this is in the event that we get no response, then our status will be this sad status. All right, we're going to do local message, and we're going to be sending and receiving data as tables. So we need to start by doing textutils.serialize. We're going to do type equals start. All right, there we go. I just wanted to make it look a little cleaner for my eyes. So the type of the message, we're going to label it as start. It's how we're going to differentiate between like the different message types and how we handle the data. We're going to do selected equals selected. Then length equals distance. And that's it. We're going to send all of that to the turtle with rednet.send turtle ID message. So that's going to send the job over RedNet. Now we need to pretty much swap the UI view from the beginning UI where we select what Y level, increase or decrease the distance. This is where we will swap and put our status screen instead. So we're going to do local opt equals options and then selected. So whichever one that we have actually selected here, we're going to draw status screen. And we're going to pass opt.y level of the OR we selected and the distance. And then we're going to update status with, let's see, sent start command. Now under that, we need to recreate what we had before, where we received data from the turtle with new statuses and whether they're going or not. So we're going to do a while true do, and we're going to do local sender raw equals rednet.receive. And we want to make sure that sender is the turtle ID, so we don't have some other computer or turtle sending stuff to the server and messing things up. So if it is indeed the turtle that we're connected to, then we are going to take the data, or take the raw data and set it equal to data. We need to unserialize it so that we now have our table stored in data. Now, if the type of data here is indeed a table, which it should be, and the type assigned to it is status, because that's what the turtle should be sending, then we are going to use that status and update our status screen with data.message. Last thing we need to do, well, actually, no, not quite the last thing. The next thing we need to do is do our turtle discovery monitor.set cursor position. We're going to do 2H, so the bottom of the screen. We're going to do broadcasting ping to turtles. We're going to broadcast a ping, so rednet.broadcast, and it's just going to be a ping. And we're going to do ID and response, so we're going to try and get a response from a turtle, and we're only going to wait 2 seconds for that response. If there is an ID, aka we get a response from a computer, and the response equals ACK for acknowledge. If you're in networking, then you understand that. Then turtle ID and status is going to be equal to the ID of that responding computer, and then the status message is going to be connected to turtle. And just for clarity and making it look clean, I'm going to concatenate the turtle ID to that. Otherwise, if we get no response, then status is going to be no turtle found with a sad face. The final thing we need to do here, we need to handle our monitor input. So we're going to do a while true do, and we're going to do a pull event. But this time we don't care for 2 of the first values. So we're going to do an underscore and an underscore. We only care for the X and the Y. And the event in this case is monitor touch. We're going to go ahead and do a for loop. So for I equals 1, comma, and then the length of options. So for every option that we have, and we're going to do an if statement all in one line. So if Y is equal to I plus 1, then selected equals I, and then draw UI and end. All right, so right underneath, now we're going to handle the other buttons, the plus, the minus, and the start. So if Y equals the number of options plus 5. All right, so if X is greater than or equal to 2 and X is less than or equal to 6, then distance equals math.max 5 distance minus 5. If you remember, this basically just means we cannot go lower than 5, and we're going to decrease the increment by 5. Otherwise, if X is greater than or equal to 22 and less than 26, then we're going to increase the distance by 5. Distance equals distance plus 5. Lastly, if X is greater than or equal to 10 and X is less than or equal to 19, then we're going to start mining and end. And then we'll do a draw UI here, because no matter which one we pick, we want it to keep updating here, and then end and end. Now, of course, these values will be different depending on where you decide to position these buttons on your screen. So that's actually the end of the new server UI. So let's save and run it. Okay, so should be able to right click any option. Yep, it highlights, makes it green. We should be able to subtract. Yep, we sure can. Can't go below 5. That's good. Gotta increase. Nice. Let's do 80 blocks. We're really gonna send it on a journey. All right, so now the turtle's connected. 80 blocks and go. Oh, and it's gone. So it is going. We have the turtle ID, the target Y level, the distance it's gonna go, and then any status messages that it sends will show up here. So when it hits that Y level of -16, it should send us a new status message saying starting to strip mine or something like that. And I'll fast forward until it gets there. All right, so it just reached the Y level. It is strip mining for 80 blocks. So that's it. It's going to do its thing and then come back up, drop its stuff in the chest, and let us know that it is completed. And that is a touch interface on advanced monitors. Take that code and modify it to your liking, to whatever you wish. You can change the size of the monitor, just play around with the positioning of the text and the colors however you wish. The underlying logic should not change. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed and see you next time. Bye bye.